You are listening to the Cattle Call Podcast. This is the place where computer-aided design and drafting meets humor and practicality, with a touch of business acumen thrown in for fun. Jim and Rocco, the owners of Zentech Consultants, the premier U.S. technology consulting firm for architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing, discuss the fascinating world of CAD with some humor and some honesty. The Cattle Call Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Cattle Call Podcast with Jim and Rocco from Zentech Consultants. I am Jim, the happy this morning because I have a big cup of coffee in my hand, Coppinger, and with me, as always, is my friend and partner,
Rocco
of no other name or any type of consideration, just plain Rocco. Because when you're Rocco, you don't need anything added. That's all you have to do. Everybody knows Rocco.
There you go.
It's all good. So, all right. So what are we talking about today? So today we're talking about building product tool sets, right? We call it a better way to sell, which is kind of an interesting topic. I really want to talk about working primarily with what we call BPMs, right? That would be, Bravo Papa Mikes, or building product manufacturers. These are the people in the design and build world who actually make the products that we specify and install on our construction jobs. I think BPMs, they kind of exist in a shadow land, right? Kind of, between manufacturing and construction, right? Since, they're manufacturers and that they're making things, but those items are specific to the construction process. And I think it makes it hard for them to live in just one world or the other. They struggle with ways to make themselves kind of better known to architects and engineers and GCs so that they can get their products specified, right? And if they can get their products spec'd, it makes it almost 3 times more likely that they actually sell their products. Traditionally, BPMs make themselves and their products available to the marketplace through, advertising, right? Or lunch and learn sessions and, of course, discount and sales. And they've been doing that for a century, probably even more. But there's really an entirely new way to help get your product specified by the designers and purchased by the GCs and the trade contractors. And it's the idea of providing tool sets with your product metadata attached. Right? And that makes it easier for designers and estimators to handle layout using your specific products. Right? And in a lot of cases, I think it's just a matter of making sure that your tool sets are available, quick to use, simple to use, and if you can do that, you can almost guarantee that you're getting specified on the project. Right? I think it also makes it much more likely for construction folks to order your product because all the size specifications, the costing, the ordering data, any information you want them to have can be included in your tool, so it's right in front of them. So Rocco, you talk with a lot of the AEC firms, right? How important is it to them to have tools that they can just kind of drop on screen with things like the correct sizing and ordering information built in, instead of trying to develop it and figure it out themselves from websites and catalogs and so on?
Automation is key in everything nowadays, right? You want to be able to do it quicker, better, faster. So it's definitely important. If you don't have all this in order, then you're struggling on the back end to make it work, and you're struggling to address the millions of questions that people have, and it comes down to automation and organization, in my opinion.
Yeah, all aspects of efficiency, right? Which has a major impact on where people go and where they're going to spend their money, no doubt.
Yeah.
So, all right, so where do we start this journey towards tools? Right, that can be distributed across the world to all of your potential clients. So, the first thing I think that you need to do is you begin the process of deciding which of your tools, right, or products need to be built into the tool sets, and what data your end users are going to need to make it as easy as possible to order your products. Right? In other words, you want to make the list of tools as tight as possible so that they're easy to find and select, while still providing the information that people are going to need, right? The size, the model, the color, the part number, etc. And you want that to be available in the simplest way possible. Now, we do just an extensive amount of work with building product manufacturers here at Zentech. And one of the most difficult conversations that we need to have with our clients right up front is on exactly that, right? We have to be very direct in our consulting when we have to point out to almost all of our clients that developing a tool set that will make your job easier as the manufacturer, it's doomed to fail. It's the wrong approach, right? You need to focus on tools that make the end user's job easier if you want this concept to have any chance of working. The initial meeting always kind of starts with a wish list of all the internal information and the department and their routing numbers and their stock numbers and their procurement data that's going to make the BPM's life easier. And I have to back them down, right, with one simple question, right? I always say, are these tools for you to use, or are they for your clients to use, right? Because the simple truth here is that there's no tool set on the planet that can handle both of those. Right? If you want to use these tools strictly internally, then sure, I can put in every detail that you need for your manufacturing and your ordering processes and so on. But if your plan is to have people outside your company, the architects, the engineers, the contractors, right, use these tools, right? Whether it's, like I said, all of those guys, or even your like sales and distributors and so on, then all of that data that you're adding is only going to make sure that they never, ever, ever touch your tools, because it's too much information that has no meaning for them. Okay, so that's kind of that hard conversation I always have to have. So Rocco, in terms of the custom tools that we do work with here at Zentech, do you see them being used more for external use by the clients, or do we have people who are just trying to get internal company use for the BPMs?
I think it in some regards it works both ways. It can work both ways, but I think it's more so for external use. All right, what do you think?
Yeah, kind of the same thing. I see a lot of our clients, and it's kind of what I want to talk about here today, and we're going to focus on during the podcast today, that people are looking for ways to put their tools in the hands of the people who are going to make the order, right? You can route and do processes internally, right, through Excel spreadsheets and custom built ordering applications and so on. It's getting it to the end user where I see the biggest benefit for people. So. And kind of along that line, right? Another struggle that I always run up against, in a development project like this one, it comes down to cost, right? So, I'm not really sure why, but there really does seem to be a belief out there that like modern computing can do all the magic stuff, right? We get a lot of clients who seem to think that a consultant like Zentech, right? We know where to push, the hidden secret button and convert their catalog into tools that do everything they can imagine and look exactly the way they want in an hour or so. Hey, look, we're really good at this stuff, right? But even my specialists here at Zentech need some time to build your entire manufacturing library from scratch as tools and attach all of your data to those tools. Think of it like this, right? If you sell 300 different models or 300 products, and you need 10 data properties that we have to add to each of those tools, that's 3,000 items that I need to build for you, right? Even if I knock them out in 10 minutes each, right? That's 30,000 minutes. That's about 500 hours worth of work that I'm going to need to build your tools, right? And if you're thinking that I can do that for like $400, you need to think again. And it's not just Zentech, that's any consultant. So, heck, even if you paid me minimum wage, that would cost you close to $4,000, right? And we need a whole lot more than minimum wage to keep Zentech running. Even though that is what Rocco keeps telling me, that's what I'm worth. That's all he wants to pay me, folks. Do you believe this guy? Terrible person he is. So Rocco, do you think most BPMs come to these conversations with a solid idea of the time and the effort involved, or do you get the same thing I do, which they think it should be like a quick turnaround and just a minor cost?
Well, it depends on your level of experience. I think if you're somebody who really has had your hands in this, kind of thing, you have a good sense for that it's not a $400 investment. But there's people that certainly that come to us who just don't know, and that's okay. I mean, we all, we're not all born knowing everything like Jim.
Yes,
I
thank you.
mean, some
Glad
of
you pointed
us,
it out.
so that's, I mean, that's part of why we do what we do. We have a lot of conversations with folks, and there's a lot of education that goes into a process. So I think it comes down to individual experience.
Yeah, that is fair. I mean, people who have tried to do it themselves, and there's a lot of clients who come to us who are like, yeah, I started doing this, and I had no idea it was going to take that long and take up that much of my time. And you're right. People who know more about the process tend to be a little bit easier in terms of the cost. But I think Rocco hit the key word there in what he was just saying is that it's an investment in getting this done, and it's the kind of investment that will pay for itself almost immediately. Okay, so remember what I said earlier, right? We're talking about these tools potentially tripling your likelihood of getting jobs, right? And a single project can pay for what you invest in developing a tool set for your end users to spec your product line. Okay, so that's what we want to focus on. So let's take a break to hear from today's sponsor. And when we get back, I want to talk about more the how-tos of initiating a project like this. So stick around, folks. We'll be back in just a minute with more of the Cattle Call Podcast. Hello, everybody. This is Jim and Rocco with Zentech Consultants, and we wanted to talk to you today about Bluebeam Review, the premier quantity takeoff estimating and markup software for PDF out there on the market today. And at Zentech, we are a premier Bluebeam partner here in the U.S. We're here to help you guys with all your Bluebeam needs, from software sales to training, consulting, configuration, and everything in between in all things Bluebeam, from the standard version to the extreme version and anything else you might need. So, in terms of Bluebeam, Rocco, how do people reach out to us if they want to start that conversation?
Yeah, just hit up our website, give us a ring, or send us an email, or through Osmosis. That works too.
Osmosis is good.
Yeah, zentechconsultants.net or sales@zentechconsultants.net, or give us a ring, 866-824-4459.
All right, Zentech Consultants, your home for all of your Bluebeam software needs. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Cattle Call Podcast, and we're discussing the idea of putting together downloadable tool sets for building product manufacturers, or what we're going to call BPMs, that clients can use for layout, and that improves, we think, your chances of being specified or ordered on large jobs. So, when it comes to the idea of building these tool sets, there are really two primary outlets that you can use, right? There are CAD systems that you can develop tools for, and PDF markup tools like Bluebeam. And the idea of using the CAD symbol tool sets for whether it's and actually for both really 2D and 3D BIM, those aren't new ideas by any stretch, right? BPM companies have been making those available to their clients for over a decade now. And I think that where they tend to fail in this is that they want to provide simple graphic libraries that you can download in like a zip format, and then depend on their end users to kind of locate and use that database after it's been downloaded, and that rarely happens. Right? If they do download it, they'll grab one symbol that they need on one job and then either forget where your stuff is or delete it. And I think if you're going to go that, right, in a CAD-based environment, I think there are two key items that you want to incorporate. Right? The idea of attributed data, right, blocks with attributes that can be extracted for ordering, right, and the concept of loading structured tool palettes, right, so that the users just have to point and click to get your product information into their designs and estimates. Right? And I think as part of that, you want to make sure that the attributes that you're including in your block symbols are formatted and easy to extract, right? And one thing I always recommend on our jobs is including a predefined data extraction template, right, for tools like BricsCAD and AutoCAD based systems that allow you to do the data extraction, so that that info, when they pull it out of the CAD system, it comes out formatted the way that you need it, right? And I think that small steps like that, right, letting the users click what appears to be a generic product, right? Hey, here's a window, right? But that generic product has all of your manufacturing data built into it, right? I think that benefits everybody involved in this process. So, Rocco, we do a lot of CAD standards work in general, here at Zentech, but we have actually been doing a lot of BPM CAD tool palette development over the last year or two. Do most clients come prepared with a good understanding of their needs when we talk to them, or they need us to kind of coach them through the process and make recommendations for them?
Yeah, it's a process. I don't think that most folks don't know what's involved, and that's okay. I mean, that's why we're the experts, right? That's why
Ooh, I get to be an expert
they reach
today?
out to us. Well, all right.
All
Let's
right.
not make your head too big here.
Oh, I tried.
But it is, it is a process. It needs to be explained and worked through, and there's a lot of roads that you can take. So it does take time.
Yeah, I mean, it's
sure.
definitely, I think you're absolutely right. It's a process. We really have to kind of, take people down that road and discuss, how's it going to work? What do you need? How are they going to order it? Where do you spec it? And so on. And so kind of getting back to where I was before, right? I said there were two ways to do this. We talked about a little bit about the CAD one. And the second potential that you have here, and to my mind, it's the more important way to build and distribute your tool sets, is through PDF takeoff systems and PDF readers like Bluebeam Review. And I think that Bluebeam is actually particularly good at working with construction documents, right? Way above Acrobat or any of the other competitors out there. And that's why it's used by over 80% of construction firms, right? So that makes it an ideal platform, to get your tools set up in, right? I think providing a set of tools for the end users there, right, that they can download to install windows or doors or control switches or lighting controls, whatever it is that you as a BPM make, right, that ensures that people will download and use them for layout and estimating in their Bluebeam system, right? Even when the designer might have specified something else in the original design, the contractors, right, and the general contractors can easily use your Bluebeam tools, right? And then when they're ready to export or run reports for bidding and pricing and so on, all of your BPM information is already there, right? So what are they most likely to order, right? That's kind of how I see this. So, Rocco, in terms of, BPMs building out their catalogs for Bluebeam, what have we seen here, right? I mean, I know we've worked with, some of the largest firms in the U.S. To do this for them, but, how are they using and distributing those tools to their clients?
I mean, ultimately, it comes down to putting it on their websites, right, and making people access to, building from there, and a lot of people like that because again, it's automation. I think that's really what it comes down to is being able to build that right onto your site.
Yeah,
right. I mean, that's the short answer.
Yeah, it's a short answer and it works. I think you're absolutely correct, right? That you build these things out, you host them on your website, right? And you're a window manufacturer. You put all of your window catalog out there as a simple downloadable Bluebeam tool set. People push that into their Bluebeam, and now they have a set of window layout tools. So they can just go on and go window, and do their estimates and layouts and markups. But as they're doing that becomes the tools that they'll use on every job because they're easy to use. But the information embedded in it, right, when they generate the reports and so on, it has your data on it. Okay, and I think that's vital, right? So and it kind of ties into where I want to what I was about to say, really, which is that probably the most important reason for focusing on Bluebeam tool sets is that Bluebeam has this innate quantity takeoff cost estimating capability. That's what most contractors and GCs use it for. So all of your product tools that we build, right, can be set to count items and lengths and areas and volumes right alongside your product information, right? So that the estimating team is going to use your product, like Rocco just said, they're downloading from your website. It's a tool set right there for windows or doors or whatever you make. And they're going to just use that to do the counting and estimating on 100% of their takeoffs. Right? And then your specifications, your model numbers, etc., they're all automatically included on every bid and pricing request that goes out. Right? Look, the truth is this, right? Contractors work on really tight budgets, and they are always going to they're going to default to ordering the item that is right in front of them. They're not going to go searching through the spec for the architect's recommendations. They're going to go to the default list of products generated from the estimate, and they're going to submit that for approval to the owner or the owner's rep, right? And look, some of you folks listening may disagree, and you say, hey, the designer working as the owner's rep is going to argue to use their original choice, but I'm going to throw a counter argument. Those architects and engineers and owners, they're in the same boat. They're working at single-digit profit margins, right, to review and approve. So unless there is a very specific reason that they require a particular supplier, they're just going to sign off and move on. So that's the real power here, right? Those Bluebeam tool sets get you work just by existing, right? Hell, you can even incorporate ordering and quoting links, right, to your sales staff and so on, right into those symbols, and make it even easier for people to order and use your products. At the end of the day, any building product manufacturer, I think, should be actively looking to develop and freely, I stress freely, distribute their Bluebeam tools on their own website, right, and aggressively market those tools to all your potential clients. Once your potential clients download and install those tools, you can almost guarantee you're going to get every job that contractor does. Okay, that's how I see this. So let me wrap this conversation up today by saying that we do a ton of work with Bluebeam tools for building product manufacturers, and of course you can always hit zentechconsultants.net to see what those tools look like and how they can work for you. But believe me, we have done tool sets for the world's largest BPMs with thousands of hours of development time, and the truth is, big companies like that do not invest that kind of effort and money unless they're certain it's going to bring them big returns, and a lot of them are doing it now. But you, as a smaller firm, if you're listening, you can do exactly the same thing at an economy of scale, right? No matter how small or how large your product base is, this concept of developing these tool sets for your building catalog line is vital to growing your business. So, all right, and I think we're going to wrap it up there. Anything else you want to throw in there, Rocco?
Nope.
Rocco says nope, so we're going to get out of here, folks, and we will catch you all next time on the Cattle Call Podcast. All right, everybody, today's Cattle Call was brought to you courtesy of Zentech Consultants. That's Rocco and I. Zentech Consultants works with design and manufacturing firms to help our clients purchase and implement the software that they need in these complex industries. We provide a single point of contact for clients to buy, develop, and learn the most vital software systems for your specific needs. Zentech strives to be your trusted technology partner from your initial needs all the way through long-term support and training for your entire staff. So Rocco, why don't you tell them how to reach out to Zentech?
All right, yeah, you can reach out to us through zentechconsultants.net. You can email us at sales@zentechconsultants.net, or you can even call us, 866-824-4459.
Excellent. We look forward to hearing from you all.